Boom. Reminisce, reminisce, reminisce. Carrying the traditions of St. Kofa because we gotta go back and collect what is useful, what is important, man. Go by logic, and I'm here with my brother.
Mindbender Supreme in the cut. What's up? One love. Yeah. How
Already
you doing?
know, man. Already know, man.
Mhm.
Feeling a lot better, man. I was feeling kind of down for a couple days, man. Just I don't know, it was just kind of all in my head and whatnot. But I think like the weather, the last couple days have been warm and the sun is hitting. I went for a bike ride, yesterday, and yeah, I'm just getting back in that flow, man. So and plus there's a lot of things to look forward to. As the weather's getting warmer, a lot of more events, been doing more content, and we're out here, man. So I'm just excited to keep this energy going, and that's going to keep my spirits up. I realize like the importance of being connected to community, what I mean, and how much we can't do things on our own. Like we're social creatures, like we got to be connected. So it's always one of those reminders. For me, what has come is that those times where I feel too much in my head, it's like I got to make the connection. So that's a lesson that's I'm reflecting on, man. So
That's so
that's
real,
my
yo.
check-in. Yeah.
That's so real. I feel that. I ride with it, and I'm with you, man. I've been very much been shown the importance of community connection lately, and
Mm.
whether it's in you know some of the intimate stuff that I do or the music stuff, it's just I need my peoples. I'm at my best when I'm connected to the peoples, and
Mm.
that's when everything feels right. So yeah, I feel pretty good. My injury's almost gone. I've been dealing with this arm injury the last
Yeah,
few,
yeah, yeah.
almost gone. I feel pretty good. I've been consistent with my exercise,
Mhm.
and yeah, I feel good. Yeah, life is all right. I got a good book recently, and reading through it. It's good.
What book you reading? What?
Is it over there? It's actually called it's I got to shout out Kamau actually because I was looking for a book that Kamau suggested for me called Tribes by Seth Godin, and Kamau swears by it. And I went to look for it, but the bookstore didn't have it, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have that, but we have this other book by him." And I ended up buying that. It's his book
Okay.
after Tribes, and it's called the Icarus Factor, or the Icarus something. So they're just talking about how high will you fly with your dreams, and they're just really being like, there's don't ever fear flying as high as possible. Like there's a lot of myths that try to limit us,
Mm.
and it was just like, no, like push further, push harder. This is how you kind of evolve in this day and age. And it's like it's not the same strategy that you had to use 50 years ago to make progress in society. You have to actually, like, some things that we talk about really
Mm.
come up a lot. It's talking about the
Work.
attention economy, and yeah, just like leveraging connections to make community.
Yo, from the moment you mentioned, like, I think about that like every single day, like the attention currency, how, that's really, that's the power right there. Like, where are people's minds going? What's occupying people's minds? And there's so much into that. Like, I was watching this TikTok video because I've been posting like quite a bit on TikTok, and because that's where like my African peoples are, you know what I'm saying? Like connected in the motherland. But I
Right.
saw this one post, and this creator was looking at taking a pause from making creating videos, like on TikTok, and because she's noticed just the way how TikTok is set up is just like short form videos and lots of scrolling and liking and this, and they have this system of like engagement. But for her, she's realizing that like after a lot of use on this, like her attention span for things that are like longer than 30 seconds were just like shot, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and and you know what, and I can see that with people, because even for me, like I was kind of getting in that loop where I'm like watching a video and then I'll watch like half of it and scroll like what's the next one. Because there's a lot of really interesting things, like content that I enjoy, like different perspectives and hearing different people's thoughts on things. But it's also like training our mind for to operate in a certain way, and then so so in this video, the video that she created is about like 5 minutes long, which doesn't seem long at all, but in the context of like TikTok, that's like a full movie. you
Yeah.
know what I'm
For real.
saying?
It's like
And
a
but she starts off before she even says, like, she kind of like, says, hey, like, hopefully you'll get through this whole entire like video, and she kind of like sets it up. So I was intrigued by that. And even in the midst of watching it, there was like urges for me to like to scroll or to like look at my phone or whatever. But like, she was saying a lot of really important things, and I was telling myself, I'm like, okay, let me just focus, let me just zone in on this to what she's saying, because it's true. And I noticed like, so like my mind was slowly getting distracted and whatnot. And you know I'm talking as someone who's, from the old world, that like before the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
we have that knowledge and whatnot. So I can only imagine kids who, and I'm even thinking about my own kids as well, who minds are just being, developed, and they're on these devices and not developing attention spans. Because then what happens when it comes to um school, to sit in a spot to be focused like that, that's impossible. Or even just having a simple conversation with a friend where like they're talking to you and then you're just all like do 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 do, like it's really
yeah,
interesting. So the
yeah.
attention, currency is a real thing. And I'm thinking like, now we have to create systems where we're actually practicing focus, where we're practicing not being distracted and zoning in, right? Because we're all these, dopamine hits are just like flashing at us from everywhere, so we're going to actually have to be like, I'm going to it's like a meditation in a way. So those are some of the revelations that I've been coming about, man. Yeah.
You nailed it. I had to write that down. Practice focus. So real, is so real, man. Because I mean, hell, I'm writing my book, and this book is the longest creative thing that I've ever had to do in my life. And the only thing really stopping me is myself.
Mm,
I'll write some chapters, and then I'm like, oh, let me just jump on this Twitter, let me just jump on this Instagram, I just get distracted easily, just
mhm.
because focusing on writing a book requires weeks and weeks and weeks of pure singular focus, and it's so hard to do these days when there's so much going on. And it's like good things that you want to pay attention to versus
Mhm.
things that you don't really need. But hey, man,
Yo,
it's like nobody's going to complain about something that makes you happier when you get a good internet meme or a good little short video. But like, yeah, it's like it might take us off our job, knock us off our square for a sec, but like, yeah, man, we all know that we need to kind of keep our sanity in these days and times. So it's like finding that
yeah, man,
balance.
it's really, really like a war for the mind, man. We gotta protect it and make sure that what we're intaking is something useful. But yeah, but like you said, like, working on a book, like, that's important. And set aside time for yourself, even if it's just like 10 minutes a day, whatever, even if it's point form or whatever. But I think it's just training yourself to have that consistency. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah. Got me
That's
even
the whole.
inspired, man. I gotta get back to my writing as well, man. So yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, man. To be honest, I got a shout out to Wylook when we saw him at Bishop's funeral.
Mm,
Wylook gave me a really good, strong support of my writing and was like, "Yo, you really need to get writing again." And I hold that in my mind because that guy's university professor who honors a good hip hop pen and still reads. And
mm.
I'm so into what you said. Like I love the modern formats and everything, but I thought I thought Vine went a little too far. I was like, yo, a 6-second video. And I was really interested in, kind of stunned why how much you could kind of convey in 6 seconds. Some
Yes,
people
for
really made
sure.
powerful, like, yo, man, like that almost felt like a kind of movie, but it was like six
What
seconds of really sharp editing,
just
cut to the
flat?
point,
Yes,
just really like
yes.
really cut everything down to its core, but then it just like removes like subtle contemplation time and building energy and emotion and just patience and breathing with art that you just live with. And it's like, yo, man,
Yo,
yeah, Ohio's Players would put out an album where it's like there's 4 songs on the album, and the album is an hour long. Every song is 15, 20 minutes. Like
yo,
that's what we used to have. Like, and you just
you
can you
you
sit
nailed that, man.
And like I saw a couple months ago, some kids were like, "Does a song really need to be 4 minutes?" I'm like, "Yo, kids are complaining about 4 minute songs." They're like, "That's way too long." I'm like, "Are you serious? Wow, it's
It's
4 minutes."
yeah, it's little dopamine hits, but this is a good segue into the movie Sinners, because the
Yeah,
reason why I'm segueing into that is because the way how the movie starts, it starts off kind of slow, at least like in today's time where we want like explosions and fast pace, like as soon as the movie starts like a car chase and we're already hooked, like like it took quite some time to like develop, you know what I mean, but like you said, it takes those times to all those subtle cues and that build up to like the final scene and whatnot, right? So I've heard that a lot of people kind of like took it in from that perspective, where it's like it's kind of slow, but then things kind of took off like towards the end. So it just kind of like speaks to like where people's minds are, where that instant gratification is just the norm, and that's not real life. Like real life isn't always popping.
is
So
it
then,
always?
so when things are normal, I mean, just kind of like understand it, it's like people feel like depressed. It's like, no, my life isn't exciting. It's like, actually, that is what it is. You know what I mean? Like we have these moments, but it's not every single day is lit.
That's it. Every day is not a car chase, and that's not sustainable. And that actually would become very boring. And like after 8, 9 days, you'd be like, "Bruh, man, can you slow this shit down? Like, we don't need to be always on, always popping, always blowing up shit." And you're so right. I was really happy with the slow burn of it. I like to I pay attention to like movie times, and I've been
Mhm.
studying movies, so I pay attention to the whole 3 act structure and stuff, and I've
Right,
been watching a lot of movies that I'll watch and I'll be like, "Okay, when does the first big problem come in?" And if you watch a lot of movies, the first major problem usually comes in, like, between 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and it's like
right,
before, and it's like for a typical 90-minute movie, it's like,
yeah,
you establish a character, your setting, whatever, and then before 30 minutes is done, problem. And they're like, I gotta
that's
solve
it.
this before the movie's done or whatever. So I'm like, I watched that and I was watching Sinners and I was like, yo, man, it's like almost 2.5 hours. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. And Coogler is just like, fuck all of
All
blockbuster
of that.
Hollywood, fuck everything. We gonna sit, we gonna be in the
Yes,
South. It's slow.
yes,
You're gonna learn smoke. You're gonna learn stack. You're gonna learn the blues player. You're
yes.
gonna take time with these people. You're gonna soak it in. And I was like, I'm like, it's either gonna be magnificent or a super flop. Like you either, if you know what you're like,
It's right, right.
you're like, if it's either you're either slow and you're going somewhere, or you're too slow and you just don't know what the hell you're doing and it all falls apart. But I was
Yep.
like, nah, man, this is the illest slow burn ever. And then
Ah,
it was so, and the other dope thing about it, where we won't spoil it too much, but what I
yeah.
also loved, it was all took place over one day. It was
Yeah, yeah,
we wake up, we're with them in the morning, they buy the spot, and then they're like, "We gonna do this tonight. It's party time." So then the
yeah.
party pop, and then they get new people who pop up to the party.
It definitely goes into a really interesting spin. But what I did appreciate was like the introduction of like the Chinese connection in the South,
Speak
through
on
like store ownership. I thought that was pretty cool, and I didn't even catch it at first until I saw some commentaries that the Chinese couple, I forgot their names or whatever, but they had two stores. There's one store on one side of the street and another store on the other side of the street. And one store was, and I didn't even catch it until I saw the commentary, right? Because there's a scene where Stacks or is going in and asking to get like a sign created, right?
it.
Like just talking to like the husband, and then like the little girl goes across the street to the mom. So one store is for the the black folks, and then the white folks. So they were like this intermediate, like where they can kind of for the lack of a better word, kind of capitalize on both markets. But there was a little bit of like empathy and compassion, um, for the mandem as well. But it was just interesting, and just to see like what role store owners play like in Black communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even though they're a minority themselves, they got a little one up. You know what I mean? They got a little bit of privilege where they're able to like maneuver through spaces and whatnot in terms of ownership. They're just not quite white. So
Mhm.
having those kinds of like dynamics were really interesting. And then of course like the Irish connection as well, which kind of falls in that same kind of category. I think
Yeah.
those are very important narratives, and it's kind of really fascinating to me that I don't think I've ever seen that type of narrative ever, like
Mhm.
ever, you know, displayed in that way. So it opens up some new ideas, and it's like, what, like you don't think of like Chinese people like in the South, in Mississippi, like that's not like you're not thinking in that way, but now it opens up a whole new door,
Mhm.
and it's fascinating. So there's so much, like I said, I love the energy where it's like it's so hip hop to me, where like one piece of art can be like unpacked like a university level course. Like
Mhm.
there's so many layers that's just jam packed in that 2 hour film. Incredible, incredible. Getting
Absolutely. On
people to
so
think,
really getting them to think and getting them to to learn, like,
to
this
learn. Yes.
it was so beautiful for them to there was a lot of ill metaphors. They were talking, if somebody has, if you haven't seen the movie and you're watching this, turn it off, because we won't spoil everything, but we'll spoil some things. It's been out a couple weeks. Go see the damn movie. But
Yes.
like, so I heard this commentary where they were like, it was kind of ill how the vampires, which were white Irish,
Mhm.
they're like, we actually don't want to kill all y'all. We just want to like appropriate. We just want one
Yes.
of you. We want the super blues singer. And they're like, we will save y'all. We will let y'all live if you just give us the blues singer. And they're like, we
Want
gonna
the
take away.
source.
Yeah, they're like, we want the juice, we want the essence, and we're like,
Juice.
y'all, we
Yes.
don't even
The
kill all y'all.
essence.
And like, it was really beautiful how Kugler was like, the blues was fire, the blues singing, women, men and women, fire. And then you had the Irish vampires come in, and their shit was, it wasn't on the same level, but it was still
But it was,
nice. It
yeah,
would, and it was,
yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
like, it was like this ill thing on like how the devil tempts, and how
Yes.
like how like I think it was the one in the blue hat. I think it was Smoke. Smoke was like, nah, I ain't
Yeah.
fucking with this. But Stack was like, yo, this kind of hits. And Stack was like, yo, I kind of fuck with the vibe. And Smoke was like, yo,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
like, no,
The
something
whole
ain't
lot.
right
The
with
whole
this
lot.
music. No, 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 like, nah, this is a little
The
something wrong
lure.
with
The
this.
lure.
But it was like nah, and like it was the double layers of the racism and the vampirism. Like it was fucking beautiful, so great, so great.
Genius, man. So genius. And just like like the love stories that go with it as well.
Ooh,
Everything was just so beautiful about it. One thing too that a lot of people are talking about is like the beginning scene, with like the indigenous vampire hunters that are looking for your boy there, right? So
yeah,
and it was such like a short scene. It was very short, sweet, but and left me, and I'm sure other audience members, with more questions. But I also feel that I was deliberate. I feel like this is a setup for like a part two, or even like a spin-off, because like now, like these are the stories that have never been told. Like indigenous vampire hunters, like you kidding me? Like, yo,
mm,
that's gonna be fire. It's gonna be so,
right,
like, the backstory to that. Oh my goodness. And just the way how they approach the house, and the woman's like, yeah, the guy's not in the house, and they're like, oh, okay. Are you sure? No, okay, well, we're gonna cut now. They're not even trying
hmm
to argue, they're not even trying to whatever. It's like, hey, we tried, we're gonna keep going, man. Keep it moving.
yeah, and they were like they were like, may God be with you, like pray, take care. And I was like, they just send them a little prayer. They're like, if you lying, you fucking sleeping with vampires, and that's on you. And I'm
And but it also shows like the beauty of the heart, like the compassion of like the indigenous peoples, like to still, even though them with the knowledge of the past of what has happened to their people,
Yeah.
the genocides and destroying, they still have not separated from their humanity and still trying to do the right thing.
Hmm.
And for the women in the house, because of like the racist ideologies, it's like that actually was like a hindrance to you. You know what I mean? Like that racism is a sickness, actually cost you your life. You know what I mean? Like to me, like that's like the deeper message of that, right? Where it's you know what I mean? Like like I said, it's packed with um so much information, man, so much angles to decipher. It's beautiful. But
Yeah.
I want to see like part two. I want to see the spin-offs. I want to see the backstories. I'm ready for it all, like right now.
Yeah, some people were saying that. They're like, "Yo, what's next? Should it be a prequel? Should it be a sequel, or should it be a spin-off?" But I mean, we won't ruin the end there. I won't say too much about it, but like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there it does kind of have an ending. The bonus scene is a wonderful,
Yeah. What's
amazing.
crazy?
Yeah.
Y- Speaking of the bonus scenes, like I didn't realize there was two bonus scenes. Like I saw the first one and I was like, okay, this is kind of like the standard with films now, like leave a little nugget at the end. So I saw the first one and I was like, okay, cool. And then I left. And then I go, I'm online or whatever, because I just love the commentaries. And there's like, oh, there was a second one. I was like, oh my gosh, like really?
Mm.
But hey, it's great, man. It's real cool.
Yeah, it really was. And yeah, man, yo, I fuck with it, man. Like, I love the African spirituality they brought in it, and like
Man,
oh,
Sankofa, man. They like the whole it was all Sankofa to me, man. They just brought everything like it's just one story.
yeah, it was so
Beautiful,
fucking
man.
beautiful. Okay. So this is the one thing I want to talk to you about, and
Mm,
it's not even a criticism. It's just like an interesting comment. Um, I why like the title "Sinners" is like interesting to me, and I'm like
mm,
I'm like I wonder why he called it Sinners. I mean, I could see there's like some straightforward shit. You're like, what, fucking
right,
them?
right.
But I'm like, I feel like there's layers to that title, and it could have been
Mm.
called something totally different. But it's like, what? Who are the sin? Like who? Like fucking. There's levels of sinners. There's the vampires. Then there's like Then on some level, so the blues
Mm.
kid, his father,
Yeah.
did you note that the father was Saul Williams?
I did not know that until someone else like pointed that out. I was like, yo, that's so. And the reason, because I saw online that they posted on like that prison scene from Slam. You remember the
Yeah,
movie or Saul Williams, the classic, where he's just
yeah,
spitting or
he's just
whatever. So they saw that,
poetry in
and
prison,
he
yeah.
was and they're making the connection that he was. I was like, I did not know. I did not make that connection at all. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
because like I opened for Saul Williams at the Great Hall once, so I always remember his jawline. He's got this like very prominent,
Distinctive. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
distinctive,
yeah.
and I was like, so when the kid is like standing there at the beginning, he's all scratched up and he's like and he's in the church, and the father's like, put down the guitar, son. I was like,
Right.
yo, Saul Williams is the dad. So in my brain, I'm like,
Wow.
okay, so to the dad, like everybody is sinners. All the people that went to listen to the
Right.
blues are sinners. And I was like,
Right.
so there's like layers of like who is being called sinners. And I'm like, I'm like, fuck, man, there's
Well,
so
yeah,
many
from
layers.
like the religious standpoint, for sure, right? Because it's outside of that like God space, so to speak. Like you got like the club that they're setting up with booze and music and all
Yeah,
kinds of
exactly.
things going on. So,
Yeah,
that's the
the girl's
perception.
cheating. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That
Oh
one
yeah,
girl
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually cheating on her husband there. The son
Right,
was like
right.
pussy, and they're like, yeah, man, these are, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Hey man. Yeah, those are some pretty fire scenes still. But anyways, yo, man, that's what's up, man. But yeah, like it'll be interesting to see like what was his take on that. Is it the label that was put onto us? Because when I think of like how the Bible was used, in the context of enslavement and Jim Crows and all those kinds of things, like what, yeah, it's interesting, really
Yeah,
interesting things, man, to really look at.
yeah, for real,
Like
for
I
real.
said, like, it could be unpacked like at a university level course. Like we can have like a whole course on this movie,
And
and break it down.
yeah,
Yeah.
for real. There is also this real subtle thing that they're like, yo, if you notice, they're like, the one in the red hat went with the Chicago mob with Al Capone, and then the brother in
Uh,
the blue hat apparently rolled with the Irish mob.
right,
And
right,
they were like saying there's these subtle things that you listen to them, and then the way that they did crime, and like you could see, and like the red hat brother was more of the soldier sniper one, and the blue hat one was
right,
more of the hustler street one. And
right.
they're like it shows up in like everything they do, and I'm like, yo, man, there's so
Real
many.
talk, man.
But like we've been talking about so many things with so many levels. I do want to give super quick shout outs to all the supporting staff, but like
Oh
Delroy
yeah,
Lindo, Delroy Lindo, man, fucking amazing. I love that. Like, what an amazing man. Like, fuck, that black man is like epic. And then Cornbread, the bigger
come on.
brother.
Yeah.
Yo, man. Oh man, that scene was so crazy. He's like, pay me my money. And he's like, come on in. Why you've been coming in and out all day? Why can't you come in? And it's like, I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Right, because you had to be invited in, man. Like, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
The temptations,
and
like,
then the black girl's like, you ain't coming in because you dead. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I was like, the black woman is the first one to sense it. I was like, yo, this is so fire.
also, yeah, and how she was just like the keeper of all of that like knowledge, you know what I mean? Like she had like the eyes
Yes.
beyond sight, you know what I mean? And one thing that was beautiful is that no one ever questioned her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whatever she said, we are like, okay, let's go. And to see a black woman put in that position of power and authority, you know what I'm saying? Like, which is what it is,
Yeah,
but to
yeah,
really like drive that home, because when we look at some of the images of today's culture and whatnot, like we don't, like we're losing that essence, man, that spiritual intuition, that connection, so to see that, is just, it was just beautiful to me. I was
you're
like, yeah,
right.
ain't nobody gonna argue with her, like whatever she says, that's what we doing.
That's what
You
we
know what I'm
do
saying?
for real.
That like matriarchy kind of vibe going on, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And I ain't gonna ruin it all. This is the last thing I'm gonna
Okay.
say. The thing that they did at the end, holy shit. I'm not even gonna detail, but like, wow. I've never seen something that wow. That part? Wow.
Listen,
I was like, holy fuck. Next, like, oh, Googler.
man, we need
Huh.
it. We need it. We need it. We need it.
That was so beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in
Yeah.
cinema.
No, it's
Wow.
incredible, man. On
Wow.
another note, did you hear about like the terms and conditions like of the film? Like, so when it came in, like all like basically a deal that has never happened before. And they had the, I know that they had the foresight of the potential of this film. You know what I mean? So like I think it was something like after like 20 years, like, or like they get back the rights,
Get the right.
and
Yeah.
then for spin-offs and all these kind of things that they just kind of like put down, in set. And the way I look at it is like, yo, I'm ready to support right now. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, the spin-offs, the merch, like whatever y'all got, I'm here for it all. And
Yeah.
I just love that, man, because it's like it's about time. And it's one of those reminders where, you know, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. It's one of those reminders, like we've, from a cultural standpoint, in terms of what we've contributed culturally, whether it's to music, film, fashion, yada yada yada, like, we've been asking for equality and equal rights, and now we're at a place where it's like, this is the deal, take it or leave it, what you going to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
Like there
That's where we're at right now.
it shouldn't be a fight, but it has to be a fight. Unfortunately, it's like, yo, whether it's, hey, man, we still have literally only Halle Berry is the only black woman to win a major. There's barely been any black men to win any Oscar awards.
Come
Spike Lee,
on,
like,
this is
black directors have barely won in like the best. Spike Lee has never won the best. Like these, and it's like
that's crazy.
we've been participating in Hollywood for like 130 years. It's ridiculous to like not even have like 5 trophies is ridiculous. So it's like you can't even we can't even really speak about morals and values and civil rights and stuff because they'll just say one thing and then do the opposite. So it's like it just has to be robbery at this point. Like we running up in your theaters, we running up in your studios, we doing it like this. You giving us these
That's it.
power, you giving us the points, you giving us control. We get
Yep.
like, and I heard he was like, I get final cut. He's like, I'm
Yes.
deciding
Oh,
this. I'm deciding how long it is, who's in it, and they were like talking about how rare it is to have like a prime. I think this is one of the only movies since Black Panther 1 that had a primarily black cast. Like that
right.
rarely
Well,
happens. Yeah, Haley Steinfeld was the only like white person in it, basically, as far as major.
mhm,
And then Jack O'Donnell or whatever, the bad guy. It's like 7 other black people. Like, yo,
that's it.
rare in Hollywood. So shout out to
And like
Coogler.
strong roles too. Like there's no filler. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody like had like a purpose and like a distinctive vibe. And honestly, man, it's almost like everybody can have like a spin-off backstory type of film. Like I'm so curious about each of the characters. Like how do they get to these spaces of knowledge and understanding and you know, um, and like Stack and the Smoke, like, well, what was happening up north? You know what I mean? Like when they left, like that story would be interesting. So it's set up. It's so genius, man. It's so genius. Like it really is set up for all different kinds of options that they can play with, that they can go,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
continue this frequency.
they really can. And at the same time, it's so beautiful that you could just leave it, and we could
Yes.
just. It's so brilliant that
And
it's
have our
just like
imagination. Yeah.
it's like people can run with it. Like you write your own fan fiction, people like shoot your own little and like carry on the story if you want.
You
Like that
know,
especially between the ends that end scene moment, there's a lot of space and time where you can just invent story and yo,
100, man, 100.
it's such a
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful like
no, it's and just as we're talking now, like, what's beautiful that it's sparking spaces for imagination. And that's something that has been so like limited. Everything's just force fed to us. Not force fed, but just kind of spoon fed, where it
yeah,
doesn't require much thinking.
yeah.
So this is like allowing like our minds to just go into different worlds, and that's something that's like I think lacking just in society, so to get back to that creative space and using our imagination, especially with the rise of like AI technology and all these things that can just do things for us, like doesn't require thinking. You know what I mean? So for us to tap back into that those spiritual antennas, you know what I mean? Like God's Wi-Fi, the original Wi-Fi,
The
to let that
original life.
run with us, man. It's beautiful. So I'm here for it all. Man. Yeah.
And shout out, won't ruin it. That scene in the middle of the movie, which is one of the greatest scenes of black music that's ever been
Oh yeah.
imagined. That I won't say it,
And
but yeah, like what when that like when that shit was happening, my jaw was I was like, oh shit, he did it. Oh, I was like, is he gonna oh shit, he's doing it. Oh shit, he did it. And I was like, yo, he pulled it
it's like
off.
this is for us. This is
This
for
is
us.
oh shit, you did it. You fucking did it. Wow. Home run out the park, black music,
Home run.
universal black music.
Unapologetically. You know what I mean? It's like
Absolutely.
Sankofa, like lest we forget.
Lest we forget, like look backward and forward and see eternity. Like,
Because
why?
it's wild, man. 'Cause I feel like we're almost like the last generation that holds that like memory, you know what I mean? So it's like we have a duty to share that, to put it out there, man, for memory purposes. So like the youngins coming up can be like, hold on, I feel something when I'm watching this. Like, let me figure this out, So I'm loving it, man. Like I just want to see more, you know, more films of this nature that just like spark, contrast between history and fantasy and, you know, modern day, all of that, man. It's incredible, man. Incredible stuff, man. Let's go, man. I'm ready for it, man.
Let's fucking go. Let's keep going, man. Cause yeah, I'm so with you, man. It's so vital. It's so good. And like, thank God for I think actually one of the, I mean, I could keep talking about this forever. I love it. But like, I think I read today that Sinners had like one of the lowest ever like distance lowest ever drop offs between the first week and second week in history.
Oh,
They're like
okay.
it made like 48 million in its first week, and then in the second week it made like 44 million or so. Like the word of mouth is high. It's like it's not like on the first weekend and it just drops off. It's just like no,
No,
this movie got legs. This movie got word of mouth. This movie got like community connection. Like people gonna be seeing this
it's
for the next
yeah.
3 weeks,
I
next
mean,
month.
like just yeah, like just look how long we're talking about it. That just shows the impact. And like you said, like it's a film that has created community around it. And just for the record, like when I'm looking at the commentaries, it's not just black folks that are coming. Like you got all kinds of people tapping in. The Asian community came in because now they got validated from that one scene and got them to like unpack what that means. So, and then I've seen some Irish folks tap in and be like, yes, the cultural songs and making it like it's so intentional, you know,
Yeah,
and and to me, like this is like even when I think of Stolen from Africa, this is like the essence where it's like we can be unapologetically ourselves, but it also inspires others to tap into their authenticity as well. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Like so by having all these different intersections, so it's not like, oh well, how am I supposed to relate to this? It's like, yo, there's something for everybody to relate to in this, and
That's
and
it.
that's the magic of us. That's the magic right there.
That's it. If you have soul, then you will feel it, and you
Ah,
will feel like, yo, man,
well,
like
that's
this is
if
exactly.
you have
It does.
soul.
You have soul. You feel you
we'll
like
we'll leave it at that, yo. If you have soul, man.
that's it.
True
Like, how
indeed,
could
man.
you?
True indeed.
Where that fucking scene, I loved it, man. In the beginning, when Smoke is like, "Well, yeah, let's see if you can sing, boy. I don't know if you can sing. Like, we gonna check you out." And the kid is like, he just hits that note, and then the Smoke looks over. He's like, "Oh my god!" Like he just in
We
the
got
car. He's
we got a
like,
live
he's
one.
like, "Yo!" Like you could just feel the
Yo,
energy that kid's voice is. That's his first acting role, and like the director of Kugler was like, "Let me hear you sing." Oh my god, you are the blues. You are it.
and listen, and you know what was even more crazier about that scene too? That scene was mostly improv too. That part, they just kept the camera rolling, and because but like both actors, what I'm saying, like we're obviously a little seasoned, so they kind of like rolled with that. But you're right though, like when we started singing and, Michael B. Jordan's character, like the look on his face, the genuine excitement, like just like oh, like
Oh
that was like so pure to me. It was like yo, he was just like we got it, man. This is what it is.
yeah,
You know what I
like
mean? But
that.
that scene was improv. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that,
man.
man. I loved it. That hit me, man.
They
I
just
was like,
rolled with it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where they just kind of like rolled with that and just like keep the camera rolling, and they just did that. And then and what they were describing is like, the boy in the back with the guitar, like there's parts where he probably didn't even know what was really happening until he's like, hey, you got that guitar, don't you, man? Go ahead. And he's just kind of, filled in and just went with it. You know what I mean? But that
wow,
whole part was just a vibe. They were they were in their character, in the essence of that energy, and that's what made it such a magical scene. And on top of that, that scene was originally cut out and then it got put back into the final. You know what I
wow,
mean? Like they had a little conversation with them. They're like, no, 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 that scene is important. You got to have that in. They put it back in and it turned out to be one of the most magical scenes as well. You know what I mean?
wow.
So just there's a lot of magic with this film. A lot of magic, yo. A lot of magic.
A lot of real magic for real. Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know
That's like
that.
the divine connection. That's that like that's all I gotta say to that, man. You know what I mean? Like when you're tapped in, you're tapped in.
No doubt, man. And
Yeah, man.
shout out to all the. I loved how much it was a real lesson, and like the whole damn thing. It's like connects to modern day. It just does, and like but just the subtle things of how much they were talking about slavery and
Yes.
like a little bit of the cotton picking.
Yes.
That KKK subplot was
Yeah.
fucking amazing. It was only 5 minutes long,
It's
but it was
necessary
fucking
because then
fantastic.
like we're like we're not even going to give you that much shine,
Yeah,
but it
it's like
is
y'all don't
an
even deserve
important
that.
piece. It's an important piece of the narrative though,
Yeah,
for to contextualize things. But you're not going to get that much shine though.
Yeah, you
And all
don't
of y'all
even.
gonna die too. All
Yeah,
of y'all gonna die.
for real. It was so fantastic. It was just subtle and it was so real. It was just like it was like here's a fourth layer of icing. And like I'm gonna ruin this one little part. I was like, because I didn't even notice this until the second time when I watched it. When when they were like, yo, the y'all ain't supposed to have this place. The KKK gonna come fuck you up. And then the vampire was the one that informed. The vampire was like, yo, I this is true because like I bit a fucking racist dude and I have all his thoughts. And one of these racist motherfuckers, they're coming to kill y'all tomorrow. And I was like,
Deep,
and this is
yes.
a fucking vampire who just spoke in Chinese to be like, we all share the same thoughts. I was like, yo, you just got intel from a vampire about the fuck. I was like, this is crazy.
Tap in, man. Like, yo, that's real. That's real.
Yeah, like, yo, you think we're the worst? We ain't even the worst. Like,
Lesser of two evils.
for real, yeah, we want to kill you and give you eternal life. These fucking crackers just want to kill you.
We have morals.
Yeah, totally.
Oh
So
man, it's like just come outside, man. Just come outside.
I'm singing dance.
And that's what they try to lure him with the songs, and it was like, yeah, this is nice. And it's like, no, snap out of it. It's like, you're musical people, man, gonna love this. Oh man,
Yeah,
it's
it was.
great. Like I said, I'm gonna go see it again, and I might even see it a third time, depending. Like, just the IMAX experience was great, and yeah, man, I'm just excited for it, yo. But
Yeah,
yo, enough of that. Last thing we'll say before we wrap up is Canadian Music Week has been rebranded as what, the Departure Festival. Is that
yeah.
what it's called?
Departure,
Departure? Yeah.
departure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's happening. It's happening like next week. So I'm gonna see if we can get some like media passes. I'm gonna, I was sleeping on that. I'm here looking for Canadian Music Week and it's not there. So hopefully we'll be able to, connect. I know that Julie Black is gonna be on a panel. I know Rochester's gonna be performing, probably some other
Nice.
folks, and
I
we
think
got to
Shad
figure
is
out a
going to
way to
show.
get in there. Right. Yes, that's what I saw. Exactly. Shad's going to be there as well. And yeah, we're going to be tapping into that as well. Yes, yes, yes.
Word up. Salute to that. And yeah, what else is going on? Yeah, I hope I wish and I hope that the 420 show was good with Styles P and Smith and Wesson and Capadonna. I unfortunately had like some my arm was still a little fucked up and I needed to heal a bit, so
Stood.
I had to
Yeah.
stay in. But and that was at the Phoenix on 420. So shout out to those
Yeah.
dudes. I
Hopefully
hope
that went well. Yeah.
yeah, I hope Styles P performed I Get High, and I hope that went well. And May 22nd is supposed to be Cypress Hill, De La Soul, and The Far Side. So I'm gonna see if I can cover that.
Yeah. That'll be a good look, man. And get into that for sure.
Mhm.
So we're gonna look into that.
That's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Saw yeah, I think like Sean Paul's coming again to the summers. Like Sean Paul is someone else. I saw like it was I can't remember who else he was on tour with, but anyways, whatever. We'll see. I know there's gonna be like a summer rollout of things happening, but anything that's happening in the outdoor festivals or whatever, we're gonna be there. I did hear May 1st, like Raz Fresco is supposed to be performing at some kind of art something on somewhere on Bathurst. I gotta get more information about that. But shout out Raz,
Right.
representing culture, boom bap, hip hop. I'm saying representing. So yeah,
And
man,
keep
that's what's up.
word up, word up. All right. Well, yo, yeah, man, it's good talking to you about Sinners, man. It's shout out to Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, and
Yeah.
one quick little shout out to the to the twins concept on screen, man. I'm as an identical twin
Man,
myself. I always like they did it well. They did it
mm,
well. They did it well. It was subtle and it was well done. Not every movie does that right. Like that Glass Onion was kind of corny, but
no,
yeah,
they did that. So, I mean, we keep talking because there's so much to talk about this film. Like it's incredible.
yeah,
Like
it's
it's just
full
magic.
of full of shit.
But even the technicality of even filming that, because I love behind the scenes stuff. Like I enjoy the magic, but I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah,
And like they're in the South, you know what I mean? So this is like blazing hot, and you know, um the technology and the precision that it takes to do those scenes, you know. And shout out Michael B. Jordan, man, because it's true. Like watching it, I actually forgot that it was him playing two roles. That's
Mhm.
how well he was playing the characters, you know. Like I actually forgot. I was like, oh, you know, and that's not an easy thing to do, you know, because like you said, it could be done corny, but like, you know, with the technology, even that the scene where they're, you know, passing the cigarette to each other, it's like,
That
yo,
was so
this is
great.
this is next level, man. And
It
now
was
it's like there's so much creativity and innovation. I'm like, yo, this is for us. This is what we do. This is what we do. We always got to add some extra stuff to it, add some
mhm.
flavor. People are like, how did they do that? Why didn't I think of that before? Now all of a sudden you're gonna start seeing more of that kind of stuff coming about. They're gonna try, but it's like, nah, it ain't
Yeah,
really it though.
we know where it began, man. We know who did this,
Yes,
you know, definitely.
as
And
usual,
yeah,
as usual.
yeah,
I
yeah. Because
love
ironically, real quick, there's a movie called The Alto Knights that just came out the same weekend as Sinners, and
Oh,
it actually features Robert De Niro playing two different gangsters in the same.
okay, that's what's
And
up.
like, yeah, I mean, Robert De Niro is obviously a good actor, and shout out to an Italian man with a black wife,
Salute.
but yeah, like I don't hear people talking about that movie the same way they're talking about Sinners and stuff. And he's probably playing them well. I probably does well, but like definitely, there's no question that Michael B. Jordan smashes it out the park, playing two different characters, very subtle differences, but you don't even
Yeah.
know. You can't even tell in the marketing or nothing like that. Yeah, it's just well executed. And
Yeah, man. So we're excited for this. You know, like we haven't really had this energy since like Black Panther, you know what I mean? Where people are just like talking about it. It's just like it's this cultural phenomenon. It's wild, man. So we got to keep this energy going. And hey, man, it's our time to shine. You
that's
know, we
it.
need it, man.
It's that.
Cool,
That's all.
man. So guess
Yep.
we'll sign off like that. You
That's
know,
real.
we'll keep y'all posted with all the movements happening in the city, broadcasting straight from Toronto. We're gonna leave it like that, man. So as always, man, carrying the tradition of saying Kofa, because sometimes we got to go back and collect what we forgot, and we're gonna be moving forward, man. That's it, all day, every day. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying?
That's
So I go by Logic. I'm here with my brother.
love and peace is Mindbender. Happy to be
That's
here.
right, man. We do this every Tuesday, 7